All You Need to Know, the Bloomberg Quint podcast that prepares you for the day's business.
Good morning and thanks for listening in. It's Friday, but it's not likely to be a good end to the week for the equity markets here in India. This is the All You Need to Know podcast on Bloomberg Quint, and I'm Alex Matthew. Here's everything that you need to know. US equity markets plummeted and investors fled to safe haven assets, with treasuries and the dollar surging. This comes after the Federal Reserve's not-so-bright prognosis of the US economy. The S&P 500 sank almost 6%, approaching the 7% threshold that would trigger an exchange-mandated trading pause. Losses in the Dow Jones Industrial Average were even deeper, with the blue-chip gauge plunging as much as 7.1%. Meanwhile, oil fell the most since late April, with Brent crude down over 8%. The market is grappling with record high US oil inventories and an uneven demand rebound as signs mount that a second wave of the pandemic could be taking hold in some US states. Jobless claims in that country remain high, underscoring longer-term macroeconomic challenges. And markets in the Asia-Pacific region, including our market, are in for a torrid time today. Already, the Asian markets that have opened up in the red, all of them with deep cuts. In news back home, COVID-19 infections neared the 2.9 lakh mark as new cases keep rising at nearly 10,000 per day. They've probably crossed the 3 lakh mark as of this morning. The government has said pending goods and services tax refunds for exporters will be processed for the supplies that they import, as authorities were rejecting such claims based on an incorrect interpretation of an earlier circular. Tax authorities are rejecting refund claims of unutilized input tax credit as the invoices for them weren't uploaded by their sellers in GSTR 2A forms. These forms are used to file purchase-related details that's automatically generated by filling details in the sales return GSTR 1. Moving on, liquidity pressures will remain elevated for India's non-bank lenders even though regulatory measures have helped ease market conditions considerably. A paper authored by RBI staffers published in its June 2020 bulletin said despite interventions by the central bank and the government, there is still stress in the NBFC system. The Reserve Bank, in a separate discussion paper, has proposed greater separation between the owners of a bank and its management. It has also suggested a maximum tenure for a professional chief executive officer. The suggestions have been put forth in a discussion paper titled Governance in Commercial Banks in India, with suggestions and comments sought till the 15th of July. In the pharmaceutical space, 3 Indian drug makers, Aurobindo Pharma, Sun Pharmaceutical Industries and Lupin, are among 26 facing a multi-state lawsuit filed in the US for alleged conspiracy to artificially inflate and manipulate prices, reduce competition, and unreasonably restrain trade for generic drugs sold across the United States. And in case you missed it, the Supreme Court said yesterday that the government can't use its verdict ordering wireless carriers to pay pending statutory dues to raise similar demands from public sector companies who are not in the business of providing mobile services to the general public. And with that, it's over to Agam Vakil for the trade setup for the day in India. Good morning, Agam. It's not going to be the best start for us here in India. How are we looking?
Good morning, Alex, and a happy Friday, listeners. Well, we have to brace for volatility this morning, considering we are looking at a sharp drop in a lot of Asian indices, and the SGX Nifty futures is also indicating a cut of 300 points. Needless to say, there will be some amount of weakness when it comes to Indian markets opening this morning. But right at the top, we have Reliance Industries, which will be in focus, where its rights issue will get listed on the exchanges today, and there will be an adjustment in equity as well as its share price. We have State Bank of India, which is approved divestment of 2.1% stake in SBI Life Insurance to achieve minimum public shareholding of 25% through offer for sale process as per SEBI guidelines, and the offer will open today, that is 12 June, for non-retail investors and 15 June for retail investors. The floor price is set at 725 rupees per share, which is at a discount of nearly 2% from yesterday's closing price. We have earnings from Westlife Development, which has managed to say a little bit of growth when it comes to its fourth quarter as far as the revenues are concerned, largely flattish at 336 crores. But margins have come off substantially. We've seen an EBITDA decline of 30%, margins standing at around 5.5% against 7.8%, and that has led to a loss of 17 crores against a profit of 1.3 crores year on year. In terms of earnings today, it is going to be a big day considering we are looking at results from Eicher Motors, Hindalco Industries, as well as Mahindra and Mahindra. Moving on, we have Lupin, which has received an approval for its albendazole tablets from the USA's Food and Drug Administration to market a generic equivalent of albendazole tablets of Impax Industries, and the drug is used to treat tapeworm diseases. And finally, we have Trent, which will be in focus considering Inditex is planning to increase Zara's presence in India with new stores potentially opening over the next 12 months. The company has at least 4 to 5 more properties it has signed up with the mall developers and could consider consolidating underperforming stores, but will continue to expand. This is, of course, a Bloomberg News report. These are some of the stocks you can watch out for as we move into trade today, but don't forget to go through our morning edition of All You Need to Know only on BloombergQuint.com.
Thanks, Agam. And as always, thank you all for listening in. This is Alex Matthews signing off. Have a great day and an even better weekend.
I hope you enjoyed listening to All You Need to Know. Did you know that you can listen to the show on the IVM Podcast app? On the IVM Podcast app, along with this, we have a number of other shows which you think you'll enjoy. Listen to Cyrus Says with Cyrus Brocha as the host. Listen to Paisa Vaisa with Anupam Gupta. The Scene and the Unseen with Amit Verma, or Shunya One hosted by Shiladitya Mukhopadhyay and myself. Check out the IVM Podcast app to get more talk content that you will enjoy.